Hello, Nomads, and welcome to episode 53. My name is Brandon. I am the host of this episode of the Nomads of Fantasy podcast, and I am also here with Eric.
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah, that is a good one. And I also have Dave.
You knew Marcus Aurelius? I did not say I knew him. I said he touched me shoulder once.
Touched me shoulder?
me
What is he,
shoulder.
He touched me on the shoulder once.
Yeah, there's a quote from Gladiator, and that was a horrible Gladiator announcer guy. That's what I was doing.
Like an old man.
Yeah, the guy with the crazy eyebrows. So yeah, we're totally referencing Ridley Scott's 2000 Roman epic Gladiator. What a fun movie to talk about. I don't think it's a fun movie. Maybe if you like war and people killing each other with their big muscles, but
That's the character, though. He's against the war, but he just kills because he has to. I don't know it was that old, though. It's 22 years old now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 2000.
Fucking holds up for
it definitely
22 years old.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Now,
impressive.
Dave and I have seen this movie, but Eric, you have not seen this movie.
I'm the virgin here. This was my first time.
So we'll get back to that. But you asked other people if they've seen this or if they had thoughts about it. So if you want, let's check out our social corner.
Sure.
What's going on there?
Well, first off, let me plug our Discord. We actually sort of went public with it this week. We put the link out there. But if you want to join, that's thenomadsoffantasy.com/Discord. If you want to hang out with us, talk about nerdy stuff, we're always hanging out in there. But I asked a question in there and on Twitter and our socials as well. But just for any comments, questions, memories that you have, End of All Hope in our Discord says, I love this movie. One of my favorites. Mm-hmm. On Twitter, at Nomads of Fantasy, our good buddy Jake Iverson says, I really think this movie helped my love of history. I've always been a huge Ridley Scott fan, and this movie is one of the many greats. Russell Crowe's performance is so great, and Joaquin Phoenix makes such a great bad guy. Okay. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Level Zero Pod on Twitter as well, which Preston, our friend that joined us for the Indies episode a couple weeks ago, he asks a question. I think we can answer this one now. He says, how familiar are you with other Ridley Scott works? Do you think this is his best? That's a good one. Or we can save that for later. But and also, fun fact, Commodus in real life tried to rename Rome Colony of Commodus. And then this question I think we should save for later because I think it's a good one. Do you think Joaquin Phoenix captured his insanity well, or does he just come across as petulant and bratty? So we got a couple good questions there.
Definitely. I think he was. I wrote it down that he has like that. We were talking about it earlier. That Joffrey instability, where like you don't know when he's going to snap, you don't know how he's going to snap. Because Joffrey in Game of Thrones was a little more free with his murder and stuff like this, but Commodus, he did. Did you guys watch the extended edition or the regular edition?
No, I just watched the regular.
Okay.
Regular.
Did he execute two guys? Was there a scene in there?
I heard about this with
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that was in the original cut.
Yeah.
All right.
Why?
He just shows how he finds the two people that found the dead bodies from the beginning when Maximus escapes.
Oh, okay.
There's two guys that are left over, and he has them executed, but he's talking shit to his general, and it's this whole tense scene. It doesn't really have. There's a couple of scenes that you could tell from the extended that were just like out of nowhere, but yeah, he's got a little bit of Joffrey in him, I think. Sorry, what do you guys?
I wish I would have watched this before we did our villains episode.
I know.
Because I wrote it down like he should have been in the running for greatest villains because he was probably one of the best movie villains that I've seen. Like just the stuff that he does is just so evil just for his own benefit. So I thought he was a fantastic villain.
Well, he's clearly mentally unstable.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a thing for his sister. He has this love for his father. He didn't get enough attention from his father, and he's like, he has this. he just has this warped mind. But obviously the performance is fantastic. I think it's great. I think if you're a fan of this movie, I think he's part of the reason why you like it, because he's such a good villain. I mean, that final act, that's how a villain goes out. I love every second of that final fight. So yeah, I think he makes the movie.
Fuck yeah.
A good villain makes a good movie.
It does. It really does. This one didn't have I guess, we always say set places as characters in the movie. This one didn't really have one. It was more of
it's pretty epic
character drama, and yeah. But fucking 22 years old. Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
was there any other comments?
No, that was it. Thanks for everybody that wrote in with your thoughts on Gladiator. You can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy, Twitter and Instagram, and hop in that Discord if you want to talk to us.
All right,
see you there.
That, let's take a get your snacks ready and all that stuff. And when you come back, we'll be getting into the arena with the Gladiator. And we're back, and this time we're talking about Gladiator. So cool, such a cool movie. Eric never saw it. That's a great driving point for this conversation, because you're kind of coming in very fresh. Where I've really seen this movie probably 10 times. I think I saw it in college a lot, and my roommate was going to school for like media and film or something like that, so he was really into cinema, and that movie just hit at the right time in 2000. Yeah, I was a freshman. So
can I just say I love movies with like one word titles, just Gladiator, Alien,
Gets it right
just
across.
more punchy. Yeah.
Dread.
Tells you what exactly
Rambo.
exactly what it is, which is funny. Gladiator and Alien back to back Ridley Scott's, which we're doing Alien next week. So
Yep. There's something to be said about the touch of quality that Ridley Scott can put on a film, and like Dave, you mentioned, where it holds up, because this movie's like 20 years old, and holy cow, 22 years
22 years old
at the time of this recording. Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's got, you go down the list of movies that he's done too. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of quality that he's put out over the years. From started in 1977, but Alien, Blade Runner, Legend that we talked about before, one of Tom Cruise's earlier ones. But I don't know, the list goes on and on. We could do an entire season of Ridley Scott stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've been introduced to Ridley Scott semi recently. Like the first time I watched Alien, I watched it in college for the first time. But I mean, Blade Runner was the first time I saw Blade Runner for the podcast, and now Gladiator, the first time I saw Gladiator. So I feel like I've become a recent Ridley Scott fan, which is nice. Getting introduced to his works.
I saw there's like a painting. Like I saw this thing on the internet where like there was like a painting out there, some old ass painting about a gladiator with like really cool armor. And he's like about to strike maybe like the final blow, and this, just seeing this painting gave him the idea for this film.
The producers, right here, he showed Ridley Scott a copy of Jean-Léon Germain's 1872 painting Police Verso, which depicted a gladiator awaiting the judgment of his fight by a Colosseum crowd who would move their thumbs depending on if they believe they should live or die.
And Police Verso means thumbs down.
Oh,
So yeah,
I guess that's
19th
even
century.
It's the opposite way too in I guess reality or what Wikipedia is.
The
The
this
thumbs up
movie's-
means you die. Thumbs
Oh,
down
really?
means like
thumbs down means they live
like,
in
yeah.
in reality.
Thumbs
Put
up
it in
is
the
like-
ground. That's the sword, putting it in the ground. And then the other one was a gesture to the neck, as in, strike the final blow. It was up towards their neck.
That
to
makes
kill
more
them.
sense.
But
okay.
Ridley Scott said, yeah, but it looks much cooler if it's like, yes, good, thumbs up.
I mean,
Because you got to think of the general audience when you make stuff like this.
it would be confusing if they did. Yeah, if they were trying to be historically accurate, the wider audience would not know that.
Yeah, and I think we're at the point now where, like, if Hollywood's trying to do a timepiece, you just know, do they always have to say, like, there was some exposition in the beginning of this film, but they didn't say what you're about to see is based on a true story or this is based on a true event or something like that. They're just, it's called Gladiator. It's Rome.
yeah,
Loosely, and then let's just
loosely
roll
tied.
with it. Yeah,
Because we're talking
So-
about like how like Maximus is made up for the movie, but Commodus and his sister are both real.
they were real. Right, exactly.
Marcus Aurelius was real. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were all rulers.
It's just kinda plucking
of the
some stuff.
Roman Empire.
Yeah.
But yeah, they plucked this specific,
Which is
one
all you need,
in time in the Roman Empire. Yeah, which made sense. I feel like it was a good time period for them to pick, like this turning point. I mean, this didn't actually happen in reality, but whatever. We're talking about the movie. But this turning point where Marcus Aurelius, has ruled over the Roman Empire for how many ever years, semi-peaceful, but he wanted to. His dying wish was for Maximus to basically try to convert Rome back to a republic, because he thinks that's what would have been best for the people. But obviously, Commodus did not agree with that.
Yeah, so going back to Eric and your, fresh experience with this movie, you have this really awesome opening battle. You really see it's like a great way to start an epic. Like, why is he a gladiator? And then you see that, holy shit, this guy was kind of like top dog. He was just really good at being a general and got the men. Like the way they change. I love how there's some patterns that they repeat through this film, or like when they learn Spaniard or whatever, when they learn his name Maximus, but they chant him like he just
everywhere
gets
he goes, he's respected. Yeah, like instantly, he earns the respect of the men around him. And you can, like you said, you're seeing him starting out as a general. Like you can tell that his men will respected him and followed him, anywhere he goes.
That first shot in there, it shows like a little bird, and it shows like him smiling at the bird, and like you can already tell like it's a good characterization right there. So early in the film, like you automatically like the guy smiling at a bird. He's a gentle, blah blah blah, and then he's about to go fucking murder these barbarians. Like when he gives the signal, you unleash hell, and you go.
And that battle was pretty sweet. Just like the quote that he says, he like kind of says the one joke, and then he says, what we do today echoes in eternity or something like that. But I love a good speech to the men before a battle,
Sure.
Oh yeah. Yep. Got to hype them up, get them rallied, and let them go.
Yep.
Like,
Let them go do
we
their
were
thing.
talking why it looks so good is like they did use a lot of practical effects. Like, I mean, a lot of the effects are dudes getting stabbed and blood and gore and stuff. But like the initial battle scene, they actually did burn down that forest. Like it's not CG or anything. They ended up.
Okay, I didn't know
forget
that.
where it was. I think it was in actual Germany, but he got permission to actually burn down a forest as part of like deforestation in a certain area. So like it's actually
That's cool.
legit. So I think part of the reason why it looks so good still is that it's actually all legit and real. So
Oh well,
Even
that's
the-
impressive.
I mean, obviously there's heavy CG in like when they're in Rome.
Yeah.
Like all of
That
that
is
CG.
It's
Like,
really
the
cool how
Colosseum,
they did
yeah.
it though.
but it still looks really good.
Like you can see why this movie
Like-
won so many awards.
Yeah. Let's just go through the list here really
Sure.
quick. 5 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor for Russell Crowe, Best Costume Design, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effects.
it won these or was nominated?
Those are the wins.
Okay, damn.
Yeah, and there's some really
Yep.
impressive CG. So I think it's common knowledge now if you're a fan of this movie, but Oliver Reed passed away. He was the guy who played Proxima.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
shit.
like, he drank his ass off. Like during production, he was at a bar and he was like drinking his ass off. He drank so much, it's like absurd amount, and he just had a heart attack and died like right there, I guess, or something like that. So they had
wow.
his character was supposed to survive, but they ended up killing him off, and I guess using some footage. And but anyways, they basically deep faked himself somehow. There's a scene when he gives Maximus the keys during the fight, like
Yeah.
when they're being attacked and he's leaving. That night, he's supposed to, that's what they did in that scene. That they put his face, but it wasn't real. It was all CG. And at 2000, like that's really good because like look at how close they're getting with Luke in the Book of Boba Fett. Like the CG is getting really good with Luke Skywalker's face, not just 100%. Like I can see that it's not, but with 2000 Gladiator, I was really impressed because it tricked me then, and if I didn't know,
I didn't even notice
you
it.
wouldn't know.
No, I didn't know.
So that's why they won
I
the
didn't
award
know
because
that.
of shit like that. And then if you see how they made Rome, like they took a road with a couple buildings on the side and a lake in the background, and they layered in Rome where the Colosseum is. I'm like, that's nuts. I even saw a
that's
thing
insane.
where I saw this thing on YouTube where they kind of showed the making of it, and they it's crazy. They did like a 3D scan or something like that of the Colosseum, but it's too big to recreate the Colosseum for a movie. But they
Yeah.
did make a legit chunk of it, at least the bottom part, like a third of it, but like the bottom part. And then they added everything else with computer post production.
Yeah, they built a replica of about 1/3 of the Colosseum,
which is still fucking impressive.
It was kind of it was
just
like
for a movie, and then they're gonna dump it after.
2/3 the height. So I think that adds to the practicality of
it's
how
a good blend.
it looks because they do have they have some practical, and then they built the CG on top of it. I will say one of my favorite scenes, like just like cinematography wise, was when they were going into Rome with that long road. I don't know if you know the shot I'm talking about, but that's one of my favorite shots in the movie. Like it's beautiful. Like that long road, you can see them making their way to Rome, and then you just see the shot of Rome in the background with the Colosseum in the middle. Such a good shot.
There's a lot of good shots in this movie, like a lot of good shots. I don't know if there was concept art or what involved. I would love to see it because knowing Ridley Scott, he probably had some really, really good concept art. But yeah, so anyways, if we talk about the story a little bit, there's that big battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they whoop ass, and then it becomes a drama a little bit, and we get to meet, was it Marcus Aurelius, the emperor?
Mm-hmm. Dumbledore.
Original Dumbledore.
It is.
Richard Harris. Yep.
Yeah. And he does something that really kind of sets the motion of this film, which is they're like, look, I'm dying, and I don't even know what Rome is anymore. But when I see you and I see what you can do and what you mean to people, like that to me feels like Rome. And I don't see, like I can't, my daughter can't, acquire Rome after I pass. So it'll go to my son, Commodus, but he's troubled. He's not right in the head. Yeah. And I don't, like you're my son. Like if you should be the person. And of course, a great character is going to look at this and say, no, thank you. And he does. He says, no, thanks. I just want to go home. I want to go home to my wife and my kids. And that sets up everything.
Let us talk together now. Very simply, as men. Well, Maximus, talk.
5,000 of my men are out there in the freezing mud. 3,000 of them are bloodied and cleaved. 2,000 will never leave this place. I will not believe that they fought and died for nothing.
And what would you believe?
They
Maximus?
fought for you. And for Rome.
And what is Rome, Maximus?
I've seen much of the rest of the world. It is brutal and cruel and dark. Rome is the light.
Yet you have never been there. You have not seen what it has become. I am dying, Maximus. When a man sees his end, he wants to know there was some purpose to his life. How will the world speak my name in years to come? Will I be known as the philosopher, the warrior, the tyrant? Or will I be the emperor who gave Rome back her true self? There was once a dream that was Rome. You could only whisper it. Anything more than a whisper, and it would vanish. It was so fragile. And I fear that it will not survive the winter. Maximus, let us whisper now, together, you and I. You have a son. Tell me about your home.
My house is in the hills above Tehillo. Very simple place. Pink stones that warm in the sun. Kitchen garden that smells of herbs in the day. Jasmine in the evening. Through the gate is a giant poplar. Figs, apples, pears, the soil, Marcus, black. Black like my wife's hair. Grapes on the south slopes, olives on the north. Wild ponies playing in my house. They tease my son. He wants to be one of them.
When was the last time you were home?
2 years, 264 days, and this morning.
I envy you, Maximus. It was a good home. Worth fighting for. There is one more duty that I ask of you before you go home.
What would you have me do, Caesar?
I want you to become the protector of Rome after I die. I will empower you to one end alone, to give power back to the people of Rome and end the corruption that has crippled it. Won't you accept this great honor that I have offered you?
With all my heart, no.
Maximus, that is why it must be you.
But surely a prefect, a senator, somebody who knows the city, who understands her politics.
But you have not been corrupted by her politics.
And Commodus?
Commodus is not a moral man. You have known that since you were young. Commodus cannot rule. He must not rule. You are the son that I should have had. Commodus will accept my decision. He knows that you command the loyalty of the army.
I feel really bad for Maximus.
Need some time,
Like you said,
son.
all he wants to do is go home.
Whole
He wanted to win this battle. He's like, okay, we won. Time to go home to my farm with my wife and my kid and my fig trees. And then he basically just gets caught in the middle of this like family dispute, because that's what it really is, like the family dispute between Marcus Aurelius and Commodus. And Maximus kind of just gets caught in the middle, because Marcus Aurelius, he views Maximus as a son, and Maximus views him as kind of a father to him because he didn't really have a father. So it's just like feuding family. It's, I feel really bad for Maximus just because he just wanted to go home. That's all he wanted to do this entire movie.
Yeah. I don't know. The way that Marcus Aurelius dies too is kind of like Commodus smothers him while he's like hugging him and crying. I'm like, that's kind of a weak way to go, but he's
I knew that was gonna
frail
happen.
old man. So sweet Dumbledore gets murdered, but to try and kill Marcus, he escapes. He goes home and they beat him home. I forgot when he like got killed. Like he didn't go back to the army that was just there because obviously he's going to get murdered right away. He tries to get home before the Romans get there, or the rest.
The editing makes it feel like he's getting there just in the right time, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Shit's already
Yeah, 'cause
fucked
the whole
up
thing-
by the time he gets there.
yeah,
Right. I mean, even before that, they kind of mark Maximus as a traitor just because he didn't want to join Commodus in his conquest to be the new emperor.
How cool was that scene when they take him, because they, when the betrayal happens, and they have to take Maximus out to behead him.
They go to execute
And he's
him,
like,
yeah.
at least give me a soldier's death.
Soldier's death.
Dude, it's so
And it's just
so
that
badass.
he was like a superhero, or like, I don't know. It was just so cool because he makes his move, and then the other guy can't get his sword out, and he's like, "You fucking rookie!" Because these are Commodus's men. They have like black armor. They're not wearing, because the armor in this movie is really cool. Like,
yeah, they're not Maximus.
yeah, they wear the black armor, and these fucking scumbags. But he's just like opens up his sword and he can't unsheath it, and he's like frost sticks, and then so he takes those two guys out. He like at one point he like throws the one sword at somebody.
He threw a sword
and then the shot
he got him off the horse.
and the shot of him just like menacingly walking from out a tree, like behind a tree, looking at you. It's just like you can't stop me. I'm loose
dude,
now.
Yeah, it was that moment. I mean, in the beginning, like in the first battle, you could tell he knew how to handle himself, like in a fight.
Of course.
But I feel like this is the scene that really sets the tone for how good he actually is at like fighting and surviving.
Yes, absolutely. So there he ends up, getting his horse or whatever and escaping and sending his buddy that like his only friend. He has like a couple of friends in this film, but Cicero, I think his name was.
Yeah.
But he's just like, I think Cicero even gives him does he give him the wife and
later
child
in the movie
stuff? Or that's later on. Okay, yeah.
That's
you're
later.
introduced to that, and then they talk. They have that moment. Yeah. But yeah, there's some good drama. There's really cool, like, I don't know, action, obviously. But all this happens in the first act, and then you kind of transition into this. All right, well, his family's killed off, and when he was fighting those guys, when he was escaping, oh, that's right, on the horses, he actually got cut pretty bad on his arm, but he ignored it to get home. So he's kind of got that infected arm, and he's been kind of bleeding and not eating and taking care of himself. So he's just kind of given up on life. And then it looks like slave traders find him, scoop him up.
Yeah, like on his own home property. Like that was kind of, I thought that was
Well, it's
weird.
burned down, so they probably like, oh, they're done.
Right.
Let's go pillage. And they're like, oh, there's somebody here, and he's unconscious.
Yeah, that was the only part that I was a little like confused by. Why would this huge caravan be traveling through, like, because he must have owned that land that his farm was on.
Right.
So like, why were they there? But whatever. That's just whatever, the movie for you. But yeah, he gets taken up by these slavers and basically gets sold to This is where we get introduced to Proximo, when he's kind of running the Gladiator arena out in
shit
the
water
desert,
town,
essentially. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. How did you feel about Proximo as a character?
I liked him. At first, I wasn't sure of his motivations. Like, I feel like he mostly just wanted to. He kind of said it himself. Like, he's a businessman. He wants to make money, off these dudes fighting each other. But obviously, I feel like he kind of reveals himself as a character with good intentions and morals towards the end there, because he was, siding with Maximus at the end. But I liked Proximo as a character overall.
When you get the story about how he was a gladiator and he won his own freedom, that's kind of when you're like, oh, like this. So this dude is like the old retired vet gladiator.
Yep.
That so
win the crowd, win your freedom.
Yeah, win the crowd. Yep, that's right. Yeah, because I mean, in the beginning when Maximus was just kind of instantly murdering everybody, like the crowd, like this is when you get the famous line, "Are you not entertained?" I mean, it's not entertaining for him just to come out and kill everyone instantly and then walk away.
That's where my pro wrestling instinct started to kick in, where I was like,
you got to work the crowd.
You got to work the crowd, and he was like the Stone Cold Steve Austin of Gladiator shit, where he just come out, he stun everybody, he just give everybody the fucking finger, chuck a sword at somebody, and just walk away and just fucking storm off in his boots. So there's a lot of pro wrestling tie-ins here. Like Proximo would be like his corner, like his ring man, or like he's like his Mickey and Rocky. He's like his man, like teaching him how to work the crowd and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like a sport all to itself.
It's cool. It's cool because like we like video games, and video games have bosses and they have levels, and I don't know. It's just like for this movie that takes place in ancient Rome, it's just such a cool idea to focus on this super badass military trained guy, but find a reason for him to be working his way from the bottom as like this slave warrior and working his way up to the top to kill the emperor.
I think,
and they did. That's like a cool.
There was a
storyline.
game that I remember back on PlayStation 2. I think it was called Colosseum Road to Freedom, something like that.
Okay.
But it was literally a game where you're just like Colosseum fighters in Rome. I mean, let me Google it real quick. Came out in 2005, so 5 years.
Okay.
That gives you a couple years after the movie comes out. Things are popular.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
I want to check that out. I wonder if that's on PlayStation. So.
But I just like seeing like where he starts. I like, how he gains the guys on the inside. He's already like, all right, listen, if we're going to survive, we have to work together. We are one.
Gotta stick together, yeah.
Stick together. And there are so many really cool fight scenes in this movie. So you really get a little bit of everything. There's a love story, there is.
That's
and
what
like
I was saying.
There's drama.
That's what I was saying when I was explaining it to my wife. Like, there's something for everybody in this movie. It's got like pretty much the best of everything. Action, drama. I mean, the historical stuff, the setting, like all of it is just so good. But yeah, working his way up the ranks with all the other gladiators. I feel like his gladiator friend there, Juba, the Numidian tribesman.
Yeah.
I liked his character a lot.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was the
brother in arms.
He's the heart because like you're introduced with him just like healing the Spaniard. He's healing him as he's like basically almost dead, and he's just like taking care of him and like trying to give him like kind of some pointers. Sad because that guy's probably been a slave for a while, and he just knows how to fight and all that stuff. But yeah, he kind of gives him the ropes, and they are pretty much together until the final act, really.
Yeah, I mean, Maximus can definitely relate to him as well, because they're kind of going through the same thing. Like, they both want to get home to their families. Yep. They know they have family waiting for them. Obviously, at this point, Maximus's family is dead, so they're the ones waiting for him. But they kind of push each other to, keep going. Mm-hmm. And I think they play off each other really well.
They do, and they have that really good quote kind of between them, where it even ends with that whole kind of thing. It's like, do you think you'll see them? Yes, but not today, kind of thing. Like,
not yet.
Not yet, because I have to get vengeance, Mm-hmm. And then the other guy's like, I don't know if I'll ever see them, but maybe when I die, they'll be there in the afterlife, then I'll see them, but not yet. It's just like really nice. It's just like this movie is full of these awesome quotes, and I like that character. We were joking in Discord about like, I think it was Discord, right? With the sequel talk. And I was like, give me that. If they're going to do a sequel, like that guy would be kind of cool. Dave's like, how dare you? He's happy with his wife and kids.
Yeah. He gets like,
he doesn't have to die.
Because Russell,
he's one of the only people that got a happy
Russell
ending.
Gets like the melancholy happy ending. Like, yeah, you get to die and go see your family. But Juba actually, I like to think that he got home and he lived happily till the end of his days. But
yeah, probably.
They also got that big ass German guy. Hagen is his name.
Yeah.
But he's, he gets to be part of the crew, but doesn't quite make it home.
Well, it's funny because at one point he even asks Maximus, like, where did you fight or whatever. He says something about Germania and that they took down the barbarians there, which made me think that the Hagen guy, was actually part of the people that, they took over.
He spoke pretty good English
in the beginning,
so I don't know.
He had an accent.
Wondering, like, even though maybe he was from Germania and Maximus had a part in taking over his country, that they were still able to get along and become friends in this shitty situation.
It's that classic tale where like you take two soldiers from different sides of the war and throw them on a certain thing. I've seen this with like a movie with like a Japanese fighter pilot and an American fighter pilot crash land on an island. They live together. Right. There's even a friggin' alien movie from the 80s. I forget what it's called, with Dennis Quaid or something like that, where he's like on an island on a planet, and him and the alien are stuck on this planet.
Inner Space.
Is that what it is?
No, I think that's the one.
No, it's
No.
it's a totally different movie. Well, anywho, people probably are shouting at me because they probably know this movie, but it's a common thing, anyways. And you can see that these guys probably had that because, like, at this point, they've all been stripped away of what they were, and now they're just nobodies. They're literally
right. It doesn't matter.
Proxima was like, "I'm not your mom. Your mom fucked up, but I will, listen to me, and maybe you'll survive if you're good." Like, that's it. That's your advice. And he does not give a shit about anybody there. They're even giving people, like, colors, like, kind of painting on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like the moment they really kind of all came together, all the gladiators, was the fight where all the chariots came out, because that's the point where I keep calling him Marcus. Maximus was rallying everybody, and like his military instincts kicked in, and he was kind of commanding everyone to do exactly what he said. And like, the only way we're gonna survive is if we stick together. So follow me.
That's probably one of my favorite fights of the whole flick too, because
so
like
good.
like there's some nasty ass deaths in there, and like just the coordination.
Oh, the woman that gets up, she puts her arms up,
She gets
and
chopped in half. Oh my god.
Oh, it's
dude.
nasty. But yeah, that was one of the more interesting ones because, I mean, the next one that it gets into is against an old undefeated gladiator that they pull out of retirement
with the tiger.
Well, hold on, but I don't want to go to that just yet, because go back to that fight though, where it's supposed to be a historical event, because like Commodus is now like the emperor, and he's got like the hots for his sister. He's got his eye on his nephews. Like, I don't know about this kid. And he's got that one senator that's like kind of in his fucking ear, kind of puppeteering there a little bit. And so he's running this whole so this is like, he's seen this whole event as like kind of like, hey everybody, let's do this again. He's like starting to throw parties. He's like Robert Baratheon. He's just like, let's just party. I want death. Let's see death. And he has this retelling of this battle, but the Romans lose in the battle because the Spaniard Maximus, he got everybody to stick together, and they killed everybody. They killed all the, I guess they would be gladiators, but like they won. The gladiators won that fight, and they're like, "Yo, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we supposed to win that battle?" And he's like, "You're absolutely right." And suddenly he's like, and then he calls up more soldiers, and then the crowd. This is where it becomes. This is like the big deal. The crowd. The crowd. He's got the crowd's attention now. Like what Proxima said, you get to win the crowd. Win your freedom. But he got the crowd to we don't want him to die, and then the emperor goes out there. This was this was one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
And
you're like,
the reveal.
He's got that cool helmet, and you're like, okay, well, hold on a second. And I was like, because he's like, no. What's your name? He's like, Gladiator, and he walks away. And
he turns his back on him. He's like, no, how dare you turn your back on me? So yeah, he was forced to reveal his identity there. I just love the tension in that scene too, because he knows like, how are you still alive? You should be dead. I had you executed. But and then like you said, the crowd is the one that decides like he's gonna live. He won over the crowd, and so Commodus knew if he killed him right then and there, then everybody would hate him. So he had to work with the crowd too. So Maximus gains his leverage there.
Guys. Your fame is well-deserved, Spaniard. I don't think there's ever been a gladiator to match you. As for this young man, he insists you are Hector reborn. Was it Hercules? Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us all your real name? You do have a name.
My name is Gladiator.
How dare you show your back to me? Slave! You will remove your helmet and tell me your name.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. Ham!
Because I mean, that's the whole reason he's having all these games, even though his dad is the one that stopped doing the games on purpose because he found them barbaric. Which is, there's a line in there how it's like ironic how he's the one that brings it back in his father's memory. But I think more importantly is, how does Maximus breathe with that helmet on? It doesn't have any nose holes. You gotta be
Okay, how does like
You gotta
Boba
mouth
Fett or
breathe in that thing.
anyone in Mandalorian armor?
I saw it and I'm like, that looks so hot in there. I don't think I would want to wear that. But no, the fact that he didn't have any nose holes to breathe through, so he had to be a mouth breather that entire time, which I thought was just kind of weird. Just a stupid thing.
Choose one that would sort of conceal his
Yeah,
identity.
you're a weird dude. I did not. I've seen this movie.
I wasn't thinking
right
about
up
that
on
either.
it. Like, if you're gonna be in battle, you're gonna be huffing and puffing. You don't want to be breathing through your mouth.
Maybe it smells, and he doesn't want to smell the smell of death because he provides so much death to this world.
It could be. I don't know. That was a great scene though. That's where you get that little speech where he gives like the I am Marcus Aurelius, blah 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 blah, and kind of gives like father to a murdered son, mother to a murdered wife, yada yada, and I will have my revenge. That's when shit is on.
That's when shit goes down because shortly after that, Commodus has his sister who like he's the only person he really kind of talks to. He's like flipping the fuck out. He's like, well, hold on a second. If he's alive, that means people lied to me. If people lied to me, then they don't respect me. If they don't respect me, how are they supposed to love me? And he's just like obsessed with him. It's so good.
Unhinged.
And that's like you just know that he's like, he's a good actor in the beginning, but he really, I think, he goes down this path where he just cannot beat Maximus in the popularity game or in the battle. He just cannot beat him. I love when the main villain, even though how powerful and sneaky and dirty they fight, the main character just does not give a fuck, and I feel like it always is in charge and always wins.
Basically, I mean, Commodus is, he basically doesn't get anything he wants, which is why he's a whiny little bitch. His sister denies him. He wants to bang his sister so bad.
Like,
she doesn't
want it. I
want
don't
it.
understand that part. Like,
his daddy didn't love him. He's got daddy issues.
He's got weird dark circles around his eyes. He's got like those.
I was wondering if he was like wearing makeup.
Pete Davidson butthole eyes.
Wearing eye makeup. I don't know. I wasn't sure if that was intentional.
What?
To make him.
You didn't like that one, Brandon?
I have no idea what that even means.
Who? The Pete Davidson butthole eyes. Sorry.
Oh, from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he's got like the dark eyes, and he's got jokes in his stand-up about that. But I'll stop saying that word for you, Brandon. Sorry.
That's funny. I've just never heard.
But he does it gives him like that crazy, like he's like hasn't gotten sleep, or he's like, I don't know. It's just he's got a certain look to him where he's.
I think he's not getting sleep.
You can
That's
see the
why
crazy
he passes.
Oh yeah,
he passes out on his sister like later on. I don't think he trusts anybody. I think he's a complete nut job. I think he's not sleeping, and he probably is wearing makeup because he's also crazy and full of himself.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a cool scene where you just get to see him cracking, and he just doesn't know what to do, and he just thinks like, all right, he knows he has to kill Maximus, and everybody's telling like, Maximus, you can die any second. So he's trying to figure out, all right, how do I got to get this guy so I can fight him.
It's fun to see like that character not in control, because you see him kind of breaking down a little bit, like not getting.
He's always fumbling.
Yeah,
he never. I feel like throughout this entire movie, he doesn't have control over the situation at all. Like, I feel like Rome is just in kind of complete chaos. They say it multiple times, like Rome is just a mob, and they're just feeding the mob with these gladiator games. So I feel like he doesn't have control over Rome. He doesn't have control over Maximus. Clearly, he's got the upper hand. He doesn't have control over his sister because she starts. This is the point where she starts to go behind his back and formulate a plan to take down Commodus and kind of overthrow him, and bring Maximus's army back to Rome to kind of overthrow everything. And that's kind of the main plot to get Commodus out of power. So yeah, I think this is kind of where we start to get into the final act of the movie.
Well, hold on. Dave did, like he tries one more time and he has him fight the best, the most undefeated gladiator.
Yeah.
So
The tiger.
That's when
Tiger fight was cool.
because that's when Commodus knew it had to be him to fight, kind of more or less, or get him like I got to kill him off is what it is. But anyways, but before that, yeah, he has him fight this guy. Tigris the Gaul, is that
Tigris
from
of Gaul.
Of Gaul?
Mhm.
Yeah, who has such a cool looking headpiece and stuff like that. That's really sweet. I like that you can, flip it up and down.
The fight's
Stuff
not
like that.
terribly long.
That's got to be.
Kinda-
That can't be very practical, right? Like, I mean, I feel like it looks cool. Maybe you're getting extra coverage on your face, but like, I don't know. I feel like your vision is very limited in that type of helmet.
Well, I mean, like when the fight, like as soon as the fight starts, like his whole strategy is just like this berserker attack with like 2 axes, and he's just swinging with both hands, and really all Maximus has to do is just like defend for a little bit, and then like he takes the other side of an axe with the pointy part and he puts it through his foot. And this is, they're every time Maximus gets to an edge, they pull out the gate and try and get a tiger to attack him, and like it's pretty much stacked against him. It's
Those are real tigers.
4 tigers and this dude against Maximus, and he still does not give a fuck. So
That's insane. It looks so good. That
was really cool.
I love it. I love when Maximus grabs the ground, grabs the dirt,
yeah,
kind of rubs it.
Gives a little,
I know, like that's like
sniff.
there's some things to it where like Russell Crowe said he's a farmer, so like he likes to like do that as a farmer, and I don't know.
It also gives you extra grip.
But I wondered if it had
like-
like a purpose.
it's like LeBron putting the
gives you
powder
extra
on.
grip. Mm-hmm.
Puts the powder on before the game. Get nice dry hands. You don't get sweaty, clammy
one thing
hands.
During that fight was badass was he killed the tiger. The tiger was laying on top of him, and he was still defending the attacks from Tigris. I'm like, dude, this guy is insane. Like, even their best champion and like 4 tigers can't take him out. Like, you can't take this guy down.
right.
And then like when that ends, Tigris is still alive, and he goes to Commodus, and Commodus gives him the thumbs down for him to murder him, and he goes all stone cold on him, and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna kill him."
Mm-hmm.
Throws his sword on the ground and then walks away.
The crowd loves him even more
I know
for that.
that's so badass right there.
Maximus
The
the
fuck
Merciful.
you to authority.
Maximus the Merciful. Yep, exactly. Yep. I'm trying to think, when was it Lucilla, right? The sister?
Mhm.
When she starts, because I know she's visiting him and kind of like talking to him and like, I can't believe you're alive and blah, blah, blah. But like they do try to figure out a way for him to get out
Mhm.
because his men are still alive, because she was contacted by Cicero. Because he's like, yo, we're still ready to go. Like your men are still loyal. But it doesn't really happen because I guess Lucilla says something to her son Lucius about Maximus being the savior of Rome.
Right.
Yeah, they were
And
playing.
Commodus
This is
hears
where
that, and
the
he's
little
just
kid
like-
spills the beans.
It was all accidental, but she,
Would you,
she should have been careful with that. But
you would not
Mhm.
say that in front of your fucking kid. Kids are stupid. They repeat any dumb shit that comes out.
why
that
would
they
you
hear.
say it to end? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It should
you know?
never come out of your mouth. That was silly.
Which kind of seals the fate of a lot of people's lives. And yeah, it sucks because
I like that turning point at the end.
That
'cause,
fucking
like,
speech.
Yeah, you think everything's
gonna
like,
work.
going according to plan. You're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they're gonna, everything's gonna go off without a hitch. But then, they kind of get a wrench thrown in their entire plan.
When you have
and yeah,
Commodus and the kid sitting next to him, and he's talking about he's telling the little story to his sister about like the busy little bee and the busy little bee, like how it's this old fable about how they blood stabbed him in the back, and he's sitting there and he's just ready to kill the fucking kid at a moment's notice. That's one of those like super tense. Joffrey don't know what the fuck they're gonna do, so she ends up having to spill the beans.
Yeah, and then after that, you get the gross scene where he's like, "You will obey me, and you will give me an heir," and all this stuff. Like, he's basically just going to, he told her like, "If you try to kill yourself, I'll kill your son."
Oh, that whole reveal, the way,
yeah.
The way he that was a really good shot. That was really good camera work. Like he's saying this stuff, and then the way it pans over, and she's sitting right there as he's talking about it. I was just like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, he is
sick.
The worst. Yeah, that's where he really takes a turn for the worst.
But yeah, a lot of characters get killed off in this whole thing because it leads up into, Cicero.
Well, they capture Maximus again. Yeah, Cicero gets killed.
They're sliding snakes into people's beds. I'm like,
the one senator gets killed because he's not as on board with all this stuff. I guess is the one guy thought he was going to be, because it's the guy with the curly hair. That senator's the fucking worm tongue guy. He sucks.
Yep.
But yeah, they kill off a couple characters. Their Proximo dies. Helgen or whatever.
His buddy, he
gets
big buddy dies.
15 arrows in him and 5 stabs to the chest. So he's toast. Yeah, and then everybody gets arrested, even Gracchus, that senator. He's like, all right, this is insane. Like, you're going to just win Rome and then just give it to the senator or give it to the people or whatever. And he's just like, he's like, I did it before. I did this with Maximus. Like, I'm sorry, Marcus Aurelius. Like, he offered it to me and I turned it down. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of cool shit that goes down in this whole, not cool, but just like, you think it's going to go one way, and it goes another way. A lot of cool shit said.
The final act of the movie was just fantastic. Like, I feel like the pacing throughout, in the beginning, it started off a little bit sort of slow, but you needed a little bit of that backstory filled in for you to really care about Maximus as a character. The second act, which is like basically the entire middle of the movie, was great, but the final act, I think, is where it really shines.
You're
Everything comes together. Yeah, because Maximus and Commodus, are going to have that final meeting in the arena, and it's like that's what you've been waiting for this entire movie.
And
for them to face off.
Like, Commodus is so full of rage because he's been betrayed again, but even by his own sister. Like, he flips out in front of her. He's like yelling at her. He's like, and like he wants to be adored and loved. He's like, Commodus the merciful, and have I not been merciful? And then he like screaming in her face.
Yeah,
it's done. What of my nephew? And what of his mother? Should they share her lover's fate? Or should I be merciful? Commodus the Merciful. Lucius will stay with me now. And if his mother so much as looks at me in a manner that displeases me, you will die. If she decides to be noble and takes her own life, you will die. And as for you, you will love me as I loved you. You will provide me with an heir of pure blood, so that Commodus and his progeny will rule for 1,000 years. Am I not merciful?
Am I not merciful?
So you just know that he just, and it's like, yeah, you need to fucking fight. And you know you're going to lose. And then
that fucker stabs him.
So then he walks up
Right
to
before the
him
fight.
and he has that thing and all that stuff. And he says, we're like brothers. And
Did
then
he-
he's like, smile for me, brother. And then he stabs him in the lung.
Is it in the lung or was it in the heart? Because that's what my question.
No, it's the lung. If it was a heart,
So,
he'd be dead.
It was on the left side of his chest, so it wasn't his heart.
Your heart's
It was
on your
mostly,
left side.
punctured his lung.
in
Is it?
middle-ish, though.
Yeah, it was
I
like
thought it was.
He just had a
I thought it
little
was
knife.
upper.
it was like right in his.
Because I
whatever.
don't think he should have died so quickly. I mean, I guess your lungs just.
He was probably bleeding
filled up
out.
with
You know.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a dirtbag, but we also know that Commodus knows his way with a sword. He's just not. He's a school trained. He's never actually had to get his hands bloody.
Right.
He doesn't know what it's like to fight. So he's, kind of showed that in the very opening scene. He's like knows what he's doing with the sword, but.
And you can see, like, even with Maximus being stabbed and, like, him in rough shape, you can tell how much stronger he is than Commodus.
He doesn't have his
Like-
left arm in that whole fight, though. He's just...
Yeah.
And dude,
I
how
mean,
cool...
he's so weak, but he's still, like,
but
just kicking
I love how
Commodus' ass.
Commodus looks with the white armor and the light from above, and it like that. I think it's masterfully shot.
Mm-hmm.
In the lift, right, with the roses falling.
Yeah, they mentioned something about the roses being good luck or something like that, and I'm assuming that this has got to be like one of the last days of the 150 days of the Colosseum stuff that's going on. 'Cause if the if Caesar is fighting one of the gladiators, it's got to be close to the finale. But yeah, seeing the arena with the roses and the white armor, yeah, that is badass.
Yeah, it's
Dude, yeah.
beautiful. I think Ridley Scott made this whole movie with some of these scenes specifically in his mind. I think he's like, I got a gladiator, he's gonna fight the emperor, and I think he was like, I'm gonna start here. And I think whoever wrote that, like, they must have geeked out in this scene because it's really cool.
And that-
and
The final moment where
with the shields though, like when they raise too with the shields and how they're covered, and then they open
then they,
up,
like,
It's-
reveal them.
And the
Yep.
music, I mean, the music throughout the whole movie is so good, and it's just everything about that. I can't stop gushing about that. So.
Yeah. But like the climax, the final point at the end where Maximus finally stabs Commodus in the neck and kills him, like everybody in that arena is silent and like you're just waiting for something to happen, you know? Because you can tell like nobody knows what to do. Like, should they cheer? Should they be happy? They don't know what's going to happen next. And we're just kind of, I mean, as the viewer too, you're kind of waiting like, what's going to happen? And it all works out for the best, but Maximus ends up dying in the end.
It's like this sort. It all comes together too, which why like this is a really good movie. But so a lot of things just work. But like it's just well done. How, what's that guy's name that kind of more or less he doesn't betray Maximus, but he doesn't
Quintus?
really, Quintus, right? He's
Quintus,
like
yeah.
the other military figure.
Well, he was like his right-hand man when he was serving in the military.
Right.
And then he betrayed him.
He just
in the
sides
beginning.
with like Rome no matter what. He just doesn't.
Right.
He just.
He betrays him like the entire movie, and then at the very last minute when Caesar wants his sword, that's when he decides to grow backbone.
Yeah. Right.
So, wow.
Yeah. So like,
Well,
I
I feel-
got slow to learn. Or
I don't know. Yeah. I feel like at that point, it was more like opportunistic. Like he knew Commodus was, going down, so he's like, okay, might as well help out Maximus now.
Fucking worm.
Or maybe he was just stewing over it over
I don't know.
the whole time Commodus was ruling, and he's like,
He's alive at the end of the movie.
But it's cool that there's a circle of soldiers, and Commodus loses his sword. And he's like asking for a sword from his own
Yeah,
guys.
not one of them
None of them
take a step.
He's like, nope, no. He says no. I'm like, well, about fucking time you show up, brother. Like, what the hell, man? And then nobody gives him a sword. He ends up pulling out that knife, and he gets his ass whooped.
I get that's kind of where you realize that, like, well, not realize, but like the Eric mentioned the school training, the school battle training, and like actual real battle training. Like, there's a difference there.
Well,
and
you can tell.
He basically just overpowers him and stabs himself with his own knife in the neck with one arm. But and he's just kind of like flopping up against him. But like if you were actually like a soldier or battle trained, you would know how to get out of something like that. So,
Yep.
it's kind of a gruesome, weird, like gurgly. I don't know. There's some noises in there. He's getting stabbed through the throat.
No. Yeah, that's why I felt like someone in the crowd at the end there, just like everything was silent, just waiting for something to happen, someone to say something. So. Yeah, I thought that was a fantastic conclusion to a movie, and I will say I got a little emotional at the end.
Oh, dude, I cried
when Maximus is dying and he's
teared up.
You cried, Brandon? You say you never cry at anything.
No, I cry all the time. What are you talking about?
Are you serious?
Me? Dave doesn't cry. I cry.
Maybe it's
I cry at commercials, dude.
Maybe it's video games. I feel like we've talked about video games
video
that
games
have
have
made
never
us cry before.
Video games are never.
Okay, maybe it's just video games then. But yeah, I definitely got teary at the end there.
It's so good.
When he's going
it's so
home. It's sad, but it's also happy because he gets to go home to his family. You know.
Maximus. Quintus. Free my men. Senator Gracchus is to be reinstated. There was a dream that was Rome. It shall be realized. These are the wishes of Marcus Aurelius.
Free the prisoners! Go!
Maximus.
Lucius is safe.
Go to them.
Like they even give him the soldier's death at the end, where like everybody respects him more than Commodus. They carry him out and they just leave.
They pick him up.
Leave the fucking
I love
emperor
that. They leave his dead
laying
body
there
there.
in the
Oh,
fucking
so good.
field. See, like how much disrespect, you know, and that's such a perfect
like,
ending.
Fuck you, dude.
So, I mean, Joba gets to go home and see his family, so somebody gets a happy ending, and Rome, like you said, it's the long way around to where like the film started, because this is what Marcus Aurelius wanted the whole time, and it just took a whole bunch of dead people in the middle to get to it. So eventually we get there.
He fulfilled his wishes. I will say, I mean, I told you guys this on Discord, but I think this might be one of the best movies I've ever seen.
So why do you say that? You know, we can wrap up here. You know, we're at the end, and what else can we really say? I mean, this movie's been around for a while, but for a freshie who's coming in saying this is one of the best, what is it that puts it up there?
I don't know. I feel like I went in not knowing. I like going into movies not really knowing what to expect. Like I knew some of the actors that were in it. I didn't really know the story at all. So I was glad to go in kind of blind, but like pretty much everything they pulled off perfectly. And it felt like an epic tale, you know, like such an epic story. Cause it goes, I mean, it spans over, I don't know if it's like, I don't know how long the period is, but it feels like a journey from where Maximus starts, in the military, gets betrayed, loses his family, and then he has to crawl his way back up the ranks of the gladiators, and finally he got his revenge at the end there. Like, it's just a perfect story arc for such a great character. Fantastic villain, amazing cinematography, amazing action scenes, like great, like it's a good love story in there too. Like, that's what I said. It's got something for everybody, and I think it does everything exceptionally well. Like, there's nothing that I'm like, like, oh, the action was okay, but everything else was good. Like, no, everything I thought was fantastic. So I would put it up there with one of the best movies that I've ever seen. And I definitely want to watch it again soon.
Try out that extended cut. I think there was only like 10, 15 minutes in there. There was one scene where like Commodus goes down, like, I forget what happens after he gets told no about something. He goes down to like the catacombs, and he finds a bust of like his dad, and he's talking to it for a second. He's kind of just like emo whining at it, and then he like takes the sword and starts cracking it, like hitting the bust in the face, and it's just like an emotional scene of Commodus breaking down more. But I don't know. I didn't really notice too many other ones sprinkled in there. There was the one with the guys getting executed, but I don't know. I've seen this movie like 10, 15 times. So
I've seen it a lot, but I also, and I still do, it's like one of my go-to soundtracks for studying, or like not studying. In college I was studying to it. Working now. Like I worked up with the sound, and I love to work to like movie and video game soundtracks with, not much singing or something like that. But yeah,
Hans Zimmer's actually got sued for this soundtrack by the estate of Gustav Holt. The song is Mars Bringer of War. It was in, what was it in lately? Forza 5, I believe it was in. But it's like this, people say that John Williams kind of ripped it off for the Imperial March for Star Wars 2, but it is it is one of the more badass fucking classical songs you can bust out. But apparently there's been no resolution to it, so I don't know. It's just a weird fun fact that I saw.
Going back to going back to Preston's question at the beginning, do we think this is among Ridley Scott's? Well, it's definitely among Ridley Scott's best. Do you think this is his best?
I mean, the next movie I usually hold that it is his best. Alien. I think Alien is his best.
Blade Runner.
I would say Gladiator. No, dude, watching Blade Runner, it's really good, but it's also really bad. It's weird. We're like, this is really good and really good. So I don't know. I think really, Blade Runner has some bad stuff in it. I think it's bad sex scenes. It has some poor acting.
I'd agree with that.
Lack of story, but it has an awesome villain and shit like that, but only at the end, So I don't know. It's more about the visual and the atmosphere with that. Where this, through and through,
it does have everything.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Alien again next week, and I feel like it's unfair to compare the two movies because they are
different styles.
They're going for much different things. But I would say, just like gut reaction, maybe it's just recency bias, just because I literally just watched this movie, but I would say this is probably my favorite.
I didn't really notice how many Ridley Scott movies have Russell Crowe in them. I'm looking at
Robin
Hood, Body of Lies, A Good Year, and then Gladiator. I'm not clicking through all of these fucking movies right now because there's so many of them. But it's kind of crazy how he can switch up styles too, where he can go from Gladiator, and then the very next year he puts out Hannibal, and then in the same year he puts out Black Hawk Down, which are just like,
he did Black Hawk Down.
Black Hawk Down, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Men, Kingdom of Heaven, American Gangster, Body of Lies, Robin Hood, Prometheus. It's just fucking The Martian. Like, he's just got all sorts of fucking tricks up his sleeve, which...
Yeah.
I wouldn't say every one of his movies is good. But...
No. Some of them I don't...
But
it's been a long ass time since somebody made a big budget spectacle of the Roman times, which used to be old Hollywood shit, right? Ben-Hur and all that stuff. But here he is making this, and it's a classic.
This movie it's getting old at this point.
It is old.
It's 22 years old at this point.
And it still looks fucking good. Like,
it's only like 6 years older than I'm
still shocked that we didn't notice that guy's face got swapped at the end of that movie.
He
looks He looks crisp and smooth. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I'll
I'll
have
watch
to
it
watch
again.
that,
But yeah.
Yeah, it's the night scene with the keys and stuff like that. You'll see it when you see it. You're like a little bit, but you really gotta look for it. But
I think that's everything I had to
I think
say
you're
about
good.
this
It's a
movie.
good movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, well, whoops, we ruined a lot. But you should still see it. And if you have
Right.
seen it,
You should. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're listening to this.
all right. Well, let's end here, and then we'll finish this episode off with a short little game. That is fact or fiction.
Ooh. Okay.
Welcome back, Nomads. And here we are for a game, and I'm calling it Fact or Fiction, Gladiator Edition. We kind of talked about this in the episode where I don't know. I mean, some things aren't really that accurate. Some things are. We kind of talked over it, but I actually made sure that we sped through that. I don't want to deal with that because
Oh,
Do I have to know my Roman history here?
leading the conversation, leading the witness.
So each of you guys are going to get a character from this movie.
Hold on, let me
And
pull
all
up
you
my
have-
Wikipedia. No, I'm just kidding.
And all you have to do is just say fact or fiction if they existed. So are they a real person or fictitious?
Sounds
All right.
easy enough.
Wait, this
I got a
is
number.
these are people from the movie?
Characters.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it.
So
Are we gonna alternate? What are we doing here?
yeah. So number in my head between 1 and 10.
Okay.
Whoever gets it right or is closest gets to go first. All right, and go.
7.
5.
The number was 8.
Oh,
So David, you will be
nice.
going first.
Winner.
So can I steal if he gets it wrong?
Good job. Okay. All right, Dave.
Yep. That's me.
Proximo has a sister named Lucilla.
Proximo is
Not Proximo. Commodus
Commodus.
has a sister. Has a sister.
Yeah.
They call her Lucilla. Was that her real? We know that Commodus and Maximus. Well, Maximus was fake, but we know that
Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius was real and Commodus was real. But was his sister actually based on a real person?
Yes. That is fact. She is a real person. Whether they had weird brother-sister interrelations, I could not claim, but
Yeah. No, you're right. She is real. She actually tried to have him assassinated in real life.
Damn.
good for her.
Yeah. All right, Eric, your character is Proximo.
Proximo.
Made up for the movie. Was he based on a real person?
I did a little bit of looking, but not enough to know this. I'm gonna say he was fictional.
Did you just say factional?
Fiction.
All right, he is not real. No, I'm sorry. Apparently, he was based off somebody real.
Oh man.
Really? Was it? Do you have any? Was it Proximo? Is there another Proximo?
They just said that Proximo was a real person who was a former gladiator, I guess. But
Damn it.
that's,
Sweet. That's cool.
Maximus wasn't real, so like some characters are real, some are not. They plucked them around. They kind of blah 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 did stuff to make the story. But anywho, okay. Maximus had a buddy. His name's Cicero.
I know that
Cicero.
name.
Yes. So David, was Cicero based on a real person,
I don't know if
or
I
is he fictional?
just heard it from like not Shakespeare shit, but like Cicero seems like a fairly common, not common, but seems like a historical name. I'm gonna say that they were real.
From my research, he was fiction,
What?
and I
There's
believe
no
you're thinking of
Irish
Cicero
guy
from
in Rome.
Cicero was from the Red Bull animations. Cicero, right?
Red Bull.
Red Bull
anime.
gives you wings.
Oh, I didn't know Cicero from there. No,
I thought his name was Cicero.
it might be from a game or something. I'm thinking
Yeah,
probably from the Coliseum game.
maybe.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky. But I did the best I could to find ones that at least I could find some proof that they were real or not real. So, okay.
Some hard fact finding over there.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky too. Wikipedia just didn't have what I thought it would have. Okay, so Lucilla, Commodus's sister, had a son. His name was Lucius. So was Lucius, Eric, a real person, or was he fictional?
I mean, I feel like it's likely that the real Lucilla might have had a son, but I'm gonna say fiction.
I am sorry. He was a
Damn it!
He was a real boy.
Damn it!
Oh,
Well, this is not my game.
what do we have? What is the score? Me with just one?
It's just one. Yep. David, Tigris of Gaul.
Tigers
Was this guy? Was he actually a real gladiator, a real undefeated gladiator of Rome?
It's a pretty badass name, but it seems too convenient for him to just slide into the story. I'm gonna say that's fake.
From my research, I only found one thing that said that he was a fictional character, and I couldn't find anything else that proved that he was or was not as well. So, to my knowledge, that he is fictional.
Damn
it, Dave has 2.
Damn it! He really had that
All right.
sweet ass face mask.
Only a couple left here. Right, ready? Eric, Senator Gracchus, the old guy that looked kind of like a cat. He was like the good one though. He's like, all right, Maximus, like if you win this, like you're just gonna give us back Rome. That guy.
Well,
Was he a real senator of Rome, or was he made up for the movie?
I think I've said fiction all so far. I'm gonna stick with fiction only because in the real events, that's not how the story happened. Like I don't think there was a. They didn't. Well, after Commodus was killed, it didn't go back to Republic. I know that.
Right.
So I'm gonna say fiction.
Senator Gracchus was a real person.
God damn it! What the fuck?
All right, David.
This is rigged.
You got 2-0. This is the last one, so I'll let you answer for fun. And if Dave gets this wrong, Eric, I'll let you.
I'll
guess.
steal. I could steal. Yeah.
All right. Was Quintus the other military guy? The
dark with the helmet? Yeah.
Quintus was the one that betrayed Maximus and didn't stick up, know that Commodus killed. So that guy, the guy that at the very end is like,
showed up at the end.
"Don't try your swords."
He seems like a minor character. I kind of am doubting that he's real. I'll say that he's fake. Fiction.
Apparently, he was a real dude.
Oh, really?
He was a real dude.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, interesting, right? So I don't know. I thought that was So that's
okay.
it.
Who were
Congratulations,
there was
Dave.
only 2 fake ones?
There were only 2 fake ones. Yeah, Cicero and Tigris of Gaul.
Well, I said
Tigris of Gaul.
fake for all of them, and I got
Everyone
them
else
all
was
wrong.
real. Yep. So it's not a very accurate movie, you know, from like helmet design to catapults and trebuchets or whatever being in the woods in a battle. That's only for like sieges, but there's some things that they got right. I don't think they even really wanted to.
Cicero's a real person.
It said that Ridley Scott brought in like historians to like get a lot of the stuff historically accurate.
And then he decided no, that's boring though. So
right.
I mean that's common with Hollywood.
Right. He brought him in, and then he's like, he tweaked a lot of things just to make him, you know, fit with what his vision was. So yeah.
Who needs history to make a good movie? You don't.
Apparently, this was kind of funny that I read this too. Like gladiators would come out and like advertise products to the audience and stuff.
It's pro wrestling, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but they took that out because people thought that would be, people would think that was fake, but that was actually real. So I thought.
Could you imagine? Have you had the wine? But have you had Bacchus wine? Well, stop on down after the fight to check out some Bacchus wine. Buy one, get one.
I also thought it was really funny. I didn't mention when we were talking about it, but remember when they were throwing bread out to the crowd?
Yeah.
Like in the whatever. It just made me think of like, that's like old school t-shirt cannons. Just launching stuff into the crowd.
Loaves of bread.
Yep.
I mean, you know, they don't have snack vendors. I was just thinking that you could just sit there, watch the people get murdered, munch on some bread, you know.
Could you imagine?
Have yourself an afternoon, you know?
Sure, drink some wine. Watch people die. Stuff, yeah. So. Yep. All right, well, that was Gladiator. Glad you liked it, Eric. It was really cool to visit this movie, you know, with a more critical eye and that it holds up. So I had a lot of fun talking about it. Next week, we're going to be doing another Ridley Scott film, but we're going to go back in time to a movie that takes place in the future.
Marty McFly.
Yeah, one of his older... What's it?
Marty McFly.
Back to the Future.
Yes.
Ridley Scott joint. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Alien. Yes. We're going to be talking about Alien next week, and I believe we have a guest for next week, so that'll be exciting. Oh. And yeah, so other than that, I don't know. Is there anything else that we have to say?
Nope. I think
tell a friend. You know, it really helps.
Yeah,
we're having a lot of fun. We have this new format. We're trying to make things a little bit shorter. Sorry, Jake. I know that you're a big fan of the show being a little bit longer for the work week, but for us, we're gonna just split some duties and kind of cut up and move some things around. But
duties,
but yeah, duties.
Yeah, I think this one will stick with me for a while. So I'm glad I finally got to watch it.
Nice.
I'll just wrap up with our social here. You can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us, nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com, as always, with whatever, pretty much anything. Visit the nomadsoffantasy.com for all your nomad needs. And I believe with that, we're out. Safe travels, nomads.
What kind of nomad needs do people have?
You go to the nomadsoffantasy.com and find out.
out! Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?